Welcome back to the Gun Collective podcast. My name is Jon Patton. Boys and girls, as per frickin' usual, got an amazing guest this week. I cannot wait to get into this story. I'm telling you, it's going to be good. Now, we've got a new sponsor. I'm going to hold up this for the video folks out there watching. This is an old school Desert Eagle. I say old school. It was made in 2001. This is a Desert Eagle, and you won't be able to see it in the video, but it has sights on it. Brand new sights on it from XS. A lot of you guys have been telling me about XS sights for years, and we finally partnered with them. Go to their website, xssights.com. They've got it for, I just got it on the Desert Eagle. We got it on the Echelon. Got it. They come standard on the new HKC C9. I got it on the XD. We got a whole bunch of it. You guys are going to love it. They got stuff for everything out there. Go check it out, xssights.com. Also, go to Camerado. Look at me. I'm wearing Camerado right now. This right here is the sea smoke color for those that are listening. It's blue. It's all shades of blue. It is what you would think of the ocean, right? And if you use the code TGC over at Camerado, that's CAMORADO.com, you'll get yourself some kind of discount. I hope Sean's doing a Black Friday thing. I don't know if he will. But go check it out. Now, my guest has been through what I would call the ringer in recent times, but we have known each other probably coming up on a decade, if not more. I got my guest from Engage Armament. This is Andy Raymond. Andy, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing, brother?
I'm outstanding. I'm
you okay?
Yeah, dude. Things are good. You know, it's been a minute since I've been able to talk to you. But first I want to talk about the Chod, because that's kind of, one of the first things that you and I kind of got to do together. I reviewed one of your rifles ages ago. Tell people what the Chod actually is.
The Chod was a 4.5-inch 5.56.
I like that you laughed in the middle.
I mean, it stood for the close home defender, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, the close home deafener. But it's a 4.5-inch 5.56 that we made, and it really comes down to it. It was just more of a toy, obviously, right? A project. It was a lot of fun, man. That thing is a flamethrower. You definitely have a lot more rounds through yours than we ever did. We still get people asking about them.
That's good.
It's a neat little thing, and I just saw somebody is making. Was it you who plugged it?
Yes.
So yes. Yeah. I saw it on I saw it. Yeah. I saw it on
I think it's Bear Creek Arsenal.
Yeah.
So it will be absolute garbage by comparison in terms of quality.
Naturally.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a neat little thing. I don't think we'll do it again. We did some shorty 9s, but the 5.56 thing, man, getting it to run well was such a pain.
I have run all kinds of ammo through mine, and for those that don't know, the gun that I refer to as Project Atrocious, it's a whole bunch of different colors, and it's stupid. That is rocking the Chod upper that we're talking about here. So it's 4.5-inch 5.56. I mean, you're not even getting close to a complete twist in the barrel. There's not even enough to do a complete twist. More of the explosion is happening outside of the barrel than inside. It is crazy. I don't know how you guys got it to work. Did you spend a shitload of time on it?
Yeah, just messing with gas port diameters.
Okay.
But I will say, I mean, I want to say you were there when I burned were you there when I burned the hair off my hands?
Yes.
Messy. Yeah. I mean, it's that,
Yes.
it is that kind of fireball. The goal obviously was to get that thing to run at full auto. And
I've had it running on multiple machine gun lowers.
Right. Okay. Well, you're
Yeah, it works. The key that I have found is you can't run the weak, PMC 223. It does not like that. You got to run full power 5.56, and then it'll run like a description.
I do remember exactly as you're saying. The Federal M193 was really solid. The higher pressure stuff.
Yeah, M193 has always done really well for me, and I mean. The slow-mo we did, I think the video is called "I Own the World's Dumbest AR-15," and so if you Google that, you'll see all kinds of slow-mo footage. And we had like a blast diverter on there, so it's throwing all the fire forward. But I was that like, hey, can we do this? Was it just like a thought experiment?
Yeah, so I saw somebody down at Knob Creek who literally had an AR upper where the end of the projectile.
I saw that.
Yeah, okay, and that was the inspiration.
And yours actually works. It is one of the dumbest things to exist, but it is a shitload of fun.
Yeah, sometimes that's what this is all about. Everybody gets upset, and we call it the chode, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, it's a close home defender." It's like, man, we're just trying to make usage of the word chode. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's all about fun, right? It's not about actually, it's about making something that's fun and enjoyable, not about being tactical and thinking in total common sense all the time. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't want to have fun? Not only that, but like, your ears would never recover if you set that off inside your house.
Yeah, permanent hearing damage. But it's all fun. It's all again, man. You just can't focus on. I don't know, man. You got to build some outrageous stuff here. You got to let loose every once in a while, and that was sort of in our little world what we did.
I would argue that upper had a role in. I mean, shit, that thing has gotten more clicks than any other single gun that I own. Really? Like that particular setup has gotten more clicks than anything else. And I would argue that it has something to do with the way I look at guns. And that's your fault. I mean, I totally wholeheartedly agree that you can't have everything be serious.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. So why the fuck not have a 4.5-inch 5.56?
Yeah.
It's good, man.
Well, as you see, somebody's trying to make it commercial. You know what I mean? And I mean, this stuff has moved down. I mean, the 7.5s. Remember the Noveske Diplomats back in the day?
Yeah.
Like, those were. And ammunition. You are getting ammunition burning off a little bit. You know what? I'm not even going to try to justify it. It's just a badass.
Okay. I mean, you've been. How long have you owned Engage?
14 years.
14 fucking years. 14 years. And you have seen, and you're in the state of Maryland for people that don't know. So you have seen the bowels of oppression, so to speak. You've had the government shit on you multiple times.
Oh, there's shit on me. I'm being sued right now by the Attorney General of Washington, D.C. in Maryland, right?
No, I did not know that. Okay. All right. We have many, many things to talk about. Okay. What's going on there?
So this is a pending matter, but the gist of it is that the Attorney General of Washington, D.C. Is suing me, and it's co-signed. Okay, so another co-complainant or whatever is the Attorney General of Maryland, Anthony Brown, in Everytown, USA. I think it's Everytown. Michael Bloomberg's organization.
Oh shit!
Are suing me for being a public nuisance. They're also suing 2 other local gun stores because in 2021 timeframe, 2020, some firearms were sold to a legitimate purchaser who had an HQL. In Maryland, you had to be licensed to buy a handgun, take a 4-hour course, be fingerprinted, get a license. He also became a designated collector. In Maryland, you can only buy 1 handgun every 30 days. And if you become a designated collector, you submit an affidavit to the state police, they do a background check, another background check.
That is bonkers.
You can buy more than 1. Anyway, it turns out what this guy was doing, I don't know exactly what the deal was, but he was engaged in some level of illicit behavior. And so they're blaming me for that.
How are they? I don't. What's the justification in blaming you? I don't get that. That
bro,
makes no sense.
If I read it to you, it's not even that. It's not even this. This guy didn't even do. He just sold the guns to his cousin or something like that, who then sold the guns in D.C. or something along those lines.
So you're like 4 steps removed from this.
Yes. So there's a proximity issue, which of course comes into play with Mexico v. Smith & Wesson, and this is all covered under PLACA. This is very serious, and they're basically suing me for $17 million or something like that regarding the quality of life in Washington D.C. Well, they're not going to win, bro. It's about bankrupting you.
Absolutely,
that's what it's about. That's literally their strategy.
Oppression seems to be Maryland's MO these days against gun owners.
Yeah.
Where do they come up with $17 million?
Bro, I'll send you our motion to dismiss because it gets so much worse. Like it gets so much worse.
Please, dude. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. because it's pending, I can't get too deep into it, but it is. I'll send you the motion to dismiss if you'd like to take a look at it.
I would like to try and do some kind of video on the complaint, like covering what the case is, so that we can put more eyes on it. Because if we encourage gun owners to support you and the other gun shops that are named in this, we could turn the tides in a positive way for you. I think.
I think so too. I mean, again, there's no way they're going to win it. John, it's so outrageous. It's so outrageous. It's beyond the statute of limitations, bro. It's beyond, there's so many things at play. There's a reason why he's in jail. I wonder what has two thumbs. And you know what I mean? Okay. Like what they've done is very, very wrong and very outrageous. And it is absolutely tyrannical. And like I said, I'll email it over to you. I probably should have done so ahead of time. I didn't know you were unaware of that. Yeah. But they're using this strategy. They're using it in New Jersey. They're using it in New York and California. And they're jurisdiction shopping, right? So normally I would be in federal court because it's DC suing me. Well, with the Maryland Attorney General, this is my understanding. I'm not a lawyer. With the Maryland Attorney General on board, they get to sue me in Montgomery County.
I almost wonder if they did that like as part of the strategy. They're like, oh, well, we know we can't get him federally. Let's try and get him in Maryland.
That's absolutely correct. And a very favorable jurisdiction because we're located in one of the most anti-gun counties in a very anti-gun state. However, I will say we have a judge who is very good, and he sided with us. We sued the county not too long ago, a few years ago, because they banned concealed carry post. They essentially banned concealed carry in Montgomery County post the Bruin decision, so you couldn't carry a handgun in Maryland. Excuse me, in Montgomery County. So we sued them.
What?
Yeah, bro. They said you couldn't carry within 100 yards of a place of public assembly, and then they defined place of public assembly as literally anywhere, like any sidewalk, any parking lot, so essentially they outlawed concealed carry. And again, this is post Bruin in Montgomery County. So we sued and we were successful. It was actually deemed against the Maryland Constitution, unconstitutional by a Montgomery County Circuit Court judge. And rightfully so. It's so outrageous. It's not even like one of these things. It's like when they talk about incremental, it was a bold move.
It's
bold
egregious. It's egregious.
So egregious.
Dude, have you partnered with, GOA, SAF, any of these Second Amendment groups?
Everybody's overwhelmed. Contacted FPC, GOA, NRA. GOA said they would offer us legal advice. They wouldn't help draft any documents, anything like that. But they said they were overwhelmed. FPC, my lawyer spoke to, or one of my lawyers spoke to them, and apparently they were out for whatever reason. I guess they're only represented by one firm. FPC has one law firm which does all their suits and everything. I forgot what the name of that.
Yeah, that's a point of contention.
Yes.
I'm not super pumped on FPC.
Didn't Adam Kraut used to?
Yeah, he used to. And same thing with Anthony from Armed Scholar, big YouTuber. And both of those guys used to work there, and Matt LaRosiere. All of them have since left.
Yeah, Matt's represent part of my legal team here.
LaRosiere is. Okay, great. That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Super smart guy.
He's a good dude. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, Matt is tenacious. I will say that. Yeah, dude, that's fucking insane. I can't believe that they're trying to pin something that you're clearly not connected to on you, and then coming up with this arbitrary bullshit amount of dollars that you owe them
based on the quality of life of DC. And literally how they phrase it is like it changes the defendant's illegal actions affect how people commute into the city, what community activities they participate in, whether or not they choose to live in the city. This is all somehow all my fault. This is my fault at all. Like
wait. So by that logic, every criminal and everybody they've ever fucking talked to would be liable for all of their crimes, which is not the case because that's why law fucking exists.
Right.
What?
It's
nonsense
very
is this?
Bro. It's very expensive and it's very frustrating. And but this is part and parcel of doing business in Maryland. And again, kind of as you were discussing, like it's coming for everybody. On a long enough timeline, this is coming for everybody, right? Like I understand that Republicans won, obviously in this last go round, this last election, but sooner or later it's coming for everybody. Populations are changing, right? People from California are moving into Texas. Obviously, they've changed Colorado.
Oh yeah,
Florida.
they gutted
Okay, right.
Colorado.
You're right. So, like, man, this is serious stuff, and it's going to affect
And
everybody just because you live in
Montana
Nebraska.
is also feeling it.
Yes, very much so. Very, very much so. Montana, Idaho. I mean, man, if you got California tags in Idaho, they vandalize your car.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't support breaking the law, but
No,
I'm not mad about that.
No, but I get it, man. You can't afford to live in the place you grew up in. You can't afford to raise your family in the place you grew up in. Imagine if you grew up, you mentioned Montana. Imagine if you grew up in Bozeman. I mean, you've Bozemanites, people who live in Bozeman, living in like RVs on the street because they've essentially been displaced because they can no longer afford to live there or to rent.
It's as if California is a fucking plague.
Yeah, bro, isn't it?
I'm curious. You said you sued them before. I want to talk about all of these things. So what's the timeline here? Because I know there was an issue that you had where someone tried to rob your store, like there was a whole bunch of attempted robberies at your place. Like, walk me back.
That I could talk about. Yeah. So I mean, we started getting real politically active in 2012, 2013 timeframe. Okay.
Which I believe is around the time that I met you.
Yeah. I think around 2012. We were in Kensington when we first met with Adam Peeney.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we sued the state. Maryland passed an assault weapons ban. We sued the state. We actually sort of won regarding SBRs, made SBRs legal, and then you slowly chip away over time, right? So we were very politically active. And my best theory is that I made some enemies. I am pretty outspoken, right? And I say generally what I think, which is not the best, which potentially is a character flaw, right? Okay, you know what I mean? It's not the best, but
that's what I like about you.
So, but it has hurt me. So, but thank you, I appreciate that. So, fast forward in terms of my legal issues, in going through that the summer or fall and winter of 2022, there was a rash of gun store burglaries in our area, and they were stealing cars and ramming the stores, and then obviously going and stealing the guns, right? So, in the lead up to this, we had several suspicious vehicles come through our lot 2:00 in the morning, videoing, right? Stolen vehicles. I say stolen because like a rear window would be knocked out, covered in plastic.
Sure, yeah.
It's quite obvious. And they're 2:00 in the morning driving around, hanging out the window, videoing with their phone. Okay. They're clearly doing, surveillance. So I began staying at the store. Do you want this entire story or?
Yes.
Okay. So I didn't know how far you want me to get into it.
No, dude, I want to hear the whole thing because
I
got bits and pieces.
So, all right. So everything I say is backed up by video or photo or body cam footage or whatever. And I started staying here, and the night before, so this would be early morning hours of December 4th, my wife is like, hey, you can't stay there anymore. You come home, whatever. So I do. That night, I'm get alerted, go to the cameras. We have a car like literally in our lot practicing dry runs to ram the building. I call 911. Oh my God. Rush over here, meet the cops. And it's quite clear what they were doing. I saw exactly, once I looked at the footage, saw what they were looking at. I was like, oh shit, this is very serious. This is really, they're going to hit us.
Yeah. They're trying to figure it out.
Yes. Next morning, I meet with a detective from Montgomery County Police Department. He says, look, man, you're going to get hit. You're going to get hit. And I said, I've been staying here, man. I cannot allow these guns out on the street. I literally said sooner or later, like a cop is going to get killed. Okay. Like this is more than me losing money or anything. I have insurance, bro. This is a principle. This is a principle thing. This is a thing of honor. I have an obligation to protect my community, people around me from people like this. Okay. We're not selling ice cream here. So
I mean, could you add that to the list of things you do?
Yeah. We also have a small Baskin Robbins franchise. So
it's a closet. It's fine.
So the cop is like, I understand, man. I was like, I asked a bunch of times, could you just put a marked cruiser out front, even if nobody's in it? No. So the officer says, look, man, you look out for Kias and Hondas.
The Kia boys were rampant at that time.
You got it. So So fast forward to later on that night, I'm staying at the store, and I got a friend of mine, an employee with me named Alex, and it's getting around 10:30, and I'm getting really exhausted. I'd been up the night before. I'm pretty tired. And I say, man, let me go across. I have to walk you out here, but I'm going to go outside and look across the street and see if there's a car on. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to start getting ready to go. I'm just
sure. Yeah. Just get one last peek.
Exactly. So I have this little handheld thermal that I use. I also raise chickens, so I use them to find chickens at night if they've gotten, lost or whatever in the yard. So I walk up to the top of our parking lot, and I don't even get the thermal out. And as I get up to the top of the parking lot, so I'm kind of look at this camera here, kind of like up over here, stores up over here.
I like this.
Over here.
For those listening, he's giving hand signals to show everything.
What pulls in between us is a freaking Kia.
Oh my god!
This is the same time as the bad guys from the night previous. This is the same time as the other burglaries. And this Kia pulls in and acts, frankly, suspicious as shit. I see the phone out, just like the videoing, right?
Sure.
It pulls up to an area that I know is a known weakness of the of our structure here, and then begins pulling around the back. Now that's pretty horrifying to me as he pulls around the back, because when I left the store, I forgot my keys and my phone. And so I couldn't get back in the store, so I had to prop the door, leave it open. So now I got a car full of bad guys driving around to the back of the building where I've left the door propped open. I have no phone, nobody to call, and I got Alex inside. So I make a decision.
By himself.
Yes, by himself. I make a decision to run out. So first, it's towards the door, but as I start running out, the car begins making a U-turn. The vehicle makes a U-turn, and as soon as its headlights hit me, now I'm slowing down, right? At the time, I probably weighed 270 pounds, so it's pretty difficult to stop that, right? I'm sprinting, right? And then, car starts turning around, oh shit, I'm now out in the middle of oh my God, I'm out in the middle of the parking lot. And I'll send you the vids, or I think I have.
I've seen them. I've seen them.
All right. So as soon as that car's headlights hit me, he guns it. The driver guns it. I hear the engine audibly here go, see the headlights go up. My first initial reaction, without me thinking, is this. I put my freaking hands up. Let me get in the camera. Throw my hands up like that. An instant, I'm telling you, the car is going towards, in my general direction, not even in my general direction, towards me, and then literally turns directly at me. This is all in an
instant. What's going through your mind at that point?
I'm going to die. So I get in an instant, I reach for my gun, get it out. Car is about ready to strike me, John. I'm like, shit, you can't really see it. I mean, car is probably 4 feet coming 28 miles. We had an expert identify it's 28 miles an hour coming towards me, about ready to hit me. I get this gun out. Whap! At the same time, simultaneously, I'm jumping out of the way. I fire, get my footing. It's all about a second, right? Fire, jump out of the way. Mirror catches me, spins me. Whap, whap. Car speeds off, nearly flips over going that fast. And if you want, you can share the video. You could splice the video in here for whatever. I can send you the raw copies from White Flame if you'd like.
Sure.
But car's going so fast, nearly flips over, drives out to Goody Drive. I make a hand signal to the camera, okay, hoping Alex is watching the camera. Call 911. And I run out to Goody Drive to see where the car goes. The reason I run out to Goody Drive to see where the car goes, and this is our main road in front of our store, was because the night before, me and the police both thought that Acura that came in and did the dry runs, ramming the building, went down the road and sat and parked and watched. So I'm wondering if they've got a peel car somewhere. So I ran out to the street. Well, this Kia goes down the street, turns around and comes back. I do not have my firearm out. Don't have it. I'm just, what the hell's going on? Car comes back, stops maybe about 50 yards away from me, and hits its police lights.
Oh my God.
So the car was an undercover Montgomery County police officer driven by an older officer. He then finally identifies himself, at which point you can see in the video, I just kind of throw my hands up like, what the hell?
Yeah, what the hell is going on?
Yep. And
your brain must have been just spiraling.
No, I was
trying to figure it out.
I was very, very, very upset. And I thought this would be, to summarize obviously a much longer story, I thought this would be resolved that night. In fact, I even told the detectives that, I'm willing to come in tomorrow with a lawyer, give a full statement, whatever, but I'm not going to talk right now. I assumed I was going to be released. And instead they arrested me, and I was held without bond for 90 days based on the officer's statement, which it politely put was inconsistent. Politely put was inconsistent with what happened.
What about impolitely put?
Oh, the fucker lied. Fucking liar.
That's why I like you, Andy.
Yeah,
First of all, what the fuck was he doing?
So he was
in
his defense, okay. He was here because our SAT, special assignment team, they do surveillance, had been assigned to sit out here and surveil our store.
Oh my gosh.
He had shown up alone in the suspect vehicle, unaware that I was there. I do believe that he was unaware that I was there.
Okay.
Now, I will also say the sergeant of this unit is a customer, or has been. We've done business together. He's got my email. He's got my cell phone. He followed us on Instagram. Like, he could have hit me up and said, "Hey, bro, we're going there tonight." But they did not. And so anyway, the officer gave a very inconsistent. Just fucking lied, man. He's saving his ass. They're on body camera footage saying, hey, look, he asks, did you get the footage? Did you get the footage? Hey, there's a blind spot right there, because the engage footage shows me running off frame. The moment of impact isn't on camera.
Right.
So he's being told it's not on camera. Don't worry about it. Except the auto body place right across the parking lot here, they got the whole damn thing.
Okay. Was that admissible? Like,
yes. But they won't let go. They'll never admit an officer did anything wrong. They'll never admit it, bro. That's never
insane,
admit it.
Dude.
It gets so much. It's so bad. It's so bad. The ballistics were inadmissible. The ballistics the county did were inadmissible. If that tells you anything.
Wait, why?
Well, the people who did it at his. He was allowed to take the vehicle home that night. And
what kind of clusterfuck is this?
Yeah, bro, this is a county of there's 2 million people, 3 million people in this county. I forgot how many. This is a serious place. This is not like rural Mississippi. Like, this is one of the wealthiest counties in the nation. We have crime lab. We have stuff. We have people who do shooting reconstruction here professionally. And anyway, so they let him take the car home, and then they went over there and did it with his input. Didn't record it, anything. It's a much longer. It was all to protect this officer and his actions.
Of course,
what this came down to. And if that meant throwing an innocent civilian under the bus, that so be it.
Not, I mean, you're in my mind, you're not just a normal civilian. Yeah, like, yes, you are, but on top of that, you also are somebody that they could work with. Like, you would.
Law enforcement.
You've always supported law enforcement. As long as I've known you, you've never been anti.
I grew up in a police family, brother. I mean, I'm even during days where I was not like the best of human beings. I never messed with cops. But this totally changed my viewpoint. And I will say that one of the reasons I'm so direct about, when you ask me what did he really, was I gave this officer my business card. And I expected him I said, hey man, I'd like to talk to you about this. This is once everything was over. He came to one of my court dates. And I expect him to come in and us for kind of hash out the situation, considering it cost me my retirement. It cost me so much money you wouldn't believe. It has cost me so much, John. And
I cannot imagine.
15 months of my life. So I was incarcerated in our local facility here for 90 days. And I was released on bond. It's 24/7 curfew with an ankle monitor. And so I couldn't leave for anything but medical and legal appointments. So I was still incarcerated, essentially. And that went on for 15 months, man, before a judge finally, interesting enough, a judge who used to teach use of force for Montgomery County Police Department.
Wow.
So he got a hold of this case and he opened it wide open. It was within an hour. He was just had kind of fixed. I don't know what you would say, how you would, he heard the facts of the case, asked the state, is this true? State said yes. He said, okay. Why is this case being prosecuted? And nobody would give an answer. They went back in chambers. Some answers were given, and he said, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. And a couple days later, the state came back with just plead this misdemeanor, go back to your life. It's non-prohibiting. It won't affect you at all. So I had the choice of either going to trial several months later, continuing on and, being under indictment and all that.
Right. Spending more money.
Paying more experts, go another $60,000 just to go to trial, essentially. I mean, these, you got to pay these experts to show up, to do their reports, all this kind of stuff. Or just take this plea to this misdemeanor. So I did what an Alford plea to a misdemeanor, which is non-prohibiting. I was sentenced to 30 seconds of probation. Literally, the judge gave me 30 seconds of probation and nixed my conviction. So in Maryland, we have this thing called a PBJ. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I'm not.
Yeah, judge can sentence you to probation before judgment. So essentially, if you plead to something and there's extenuating circumstances, like you're a first-time offender or something else going on, like in my case, they can then nix. They give you a probation sentence, and then once you complete that successfully, then they nix your conviction. So that's what happened.
That's really interesting.
He sent me 30 seconds of probation. There's literally a direct quote: 30 seconds of probation. Then nix my conviction. He's a great man.
So,
Eric Johnson, great man.
You said 15 months, correct?
Yes.
So for 15
I was
months,
locked up. Yeah, man. Yeah.
The state of Maryland was fucking you.
Yeah, bro. Montgomery County.
I mean, let's be fair.
Yeah.
It's not just a county. It's anybody in support of that bullshit.
It's political, bro. It's political, man. It's political. That's what was said to my counsel, essentially. This is political. Like everybody, once the facts started coming out.
Well, of course, they wanted to make an example out of you.
Yes, that's what
wild gun store owner, gun company owner.
Look at the media coverage, bro. I mean, it made me look like a total psycho. Like, and I'm over here like doing what the police should have been doing. Frankly, I'm over here protecting my community. I'm being a man. As a man, do we not have an obligation to do that, to protect our community, to protect our friends and loved ones and all that kind of stuff? I can't have these guys ram this building and take machine guns. Are you crazy? Like, if I have to put myself,
I think that's
way,
something
I
that.
do so.
Sorry, I'm talking over you. My apologies.
No problem.
The amount of stuff, like you are not an average gun store. Like, you've never been an average kind of gun enthusiast. Like, I think one of the first times I ever fired a belt fed, or I don't remember if I fired it or if I witnessed it, but it was into a tube in the back of your shop.
Yeah. It was a PKM, wasn't it?
Yes, it was a fucking PKM.
Do a little tiny shoot.
Yes.
I just like to hear that thing run, dude.
Yes, and that's exactly what happened that day. And it was like you have a deep appreciation for the Second Amendment. And I've seen it. Like, this is not me blowing smoke up your ass. You've always been that way. And again, that's influence in my early career to kind of end up where I'm at now, and to know that the state and the county and the municipality just fucked you that hard is it's tough to stomach. What the fuck are you doing to fight back?
Well,
you got to push back, right? Like, what are you doing?
In terms of what, I mean, bro, I went from one litigation and almost immediately to another. So as soon as I got out of this shit, then immediately I was sued by the Attorney General. So I can't get into like how you get back at that, but yeah, man, you can't keep on doing this. I'm doing something. I'm engaged in a constitutionally protected business. I'm not doing anything unlawful. Like, I'm a decent person. I used to support law enforcement 110%. You know what I mean? Like, you can't treat people like that just because. And, we have this thing, like in this county. I don't know. There was this law. Now I've been out for a couple of years, just kind of coming back because of my incident. But like,
you look like a wrestler now. We agreed on
that. Wrestling. Yeah, wrestling. I love wrestling.
Wait, first of all, hold on. This is a side quest. I have to ask this. Did you get any prison tattoos?
No.
Geez,
bro, those guys.
Opportunity.
Bro, you should see what they do, man. I'm not letting those guys touch me.
What, you didn't want the massive staph infection?
Yeah, bro, with little man. It's I will say, man, that the that was not a pleasant experience at all. And
I can't imagine.
But yeah, Montgomery County here, they let everybody go, but like the most violent offenders. And then there was guys like from the federal system. There was one guy who was kind of cell caddy quarter me. He was doing more than 20 years in the federal system. And so they have these contracts. They move prisoners through. If they're moving somebody here, like Montgomery County will take them in for like a few months. We had a lot of guys, so I was kind of in the Spanish car. I'm a Spanish speaker. So there were not a lot of other white inmates. There was only one in my unit. So I generally was with those guys. And I mean, these are MS-13 guys. These are 18th Street guys. They're very serious. Many of them in there for homicides, murders.
Dude, how do you manage that? Like, how do you go from, a successful business owner to being tossed into that? Like, what
it's
what
terrible.
the fuck do you do?
Bro, I have a wife. I have little kids. I've my at the time, my daughter was probably 4 and my son is like 2. And, we'd finally kind of made it. Like, you know what I mean? Like we had a good thing going on. Business was going okay. We finally kind of made it. And all of a sudden, missed Christmas, missed everything, and other things were going on, here at the store and whatnot. And it just, everything was coming apart at the seams. And it was enough to drive someone to, think about some very, very serious things. And, but anyway,
I don't know that I would have been able to deal with that, man.
Well, at least some of these, I will say this, some of the guys who I was locked up with in there, I still keep in contact with. Not in like my cellie, man, he was a good guy. He was a good guy. Like some people, man, all right, you make mistakes or you're a criminal or whatever. Some of them are still decent guys. And there's an honesty to some of them too. Like a transparency you don't get from other people, especially in a bond where you're with somebody. Like my cellie, in our facility here, we were locked up 22, 23 hours a day. So you get to know somebody very, very well in a little tiny cell. Wow. Talking to them and whatnot. And so anyway, so that's what happened, man. And
okay. Last prison question. Sure. Did you fight a guy on the first day? Is that a real thing, or is that just...
That is a terrible, terrible idea. Terrible idea. You don't know. I mean, I had plenty of money in my commissary too, so I was able to make friends and
okay.
Man, that's something else. People got to put money in your books, man. So if you know somebody who's locked up for a crime, definitely put money on their books, so long as you want to. You want to. They're not a total dirtball or whatever, but put money on their books, and that gives them a lot of
social credit.
Exactly. You can start doing trades, and everybody wants to trade this, and and pod reps will do this for you if you get them this, and like books. So, for instance, I could only have 5 books, but I spend all day reading. All right. So, what I would do is I would get other guys, give them some soups. They don't read, and I would max out their books. So I would have my wife send them 5 books. And then I would get you know what I mean? So if I wasn't friendly and wasn't able to trade and whatnot, that wouldn't have happened. I would have had to read, I don't even freaking know some biography of General Grant 30 times. But anyway,
very, very educated on General Grant.
He's a great man, by the way. That's actually, it popped in my head. I read a lot. It's all day. You got nothing to do. So worked out a lot. And you're just in a cell, so you're just doing nothing but calisthenics. So burpees, a lot of burpees. And then some of the guys in the unit, when we did have the hour out, would lead, there was this one guy, Wood. He was from up the road, Hagerstown. He'd just come out doing 8 years and had been arrested on a parole violation. He was back in. So he'd lead the group, in terms of doing, burpees, complex burpees, pull-ups, you know what I mean? All that in a routine, everybody running in order and whatnot. Yeah.
It's amazing how, and I've watched a few sort of documentary type programs on prison life, and it's amazing how there is like a community within and this sort of, it almost falls back to its own version of a lawful society.
Yeah.
Within its own rules and substructure. It's kind of fascinating.
That actually is a very interesting way of putting it. That it is. It's very much like that. I'd say the microcosm of that really is the California penal system, right? That is highly regimented by the inmates themselves.
In what way? I don't know much about it.
So in California, so after my experience, I ended up just devouring a ton of this stuff and researching it. In California, you everyone is aligned with their race. So
Oh,
if you're black, you're with blacks. If you're white, you're with whites. And then there's Sereños and Norteños, right? So that's like Nuestra Familia and La M. And if you are within those groups, you will put in work for those groups if you want their protection. Otherwise, you are open game for anybody. So, and those groups are essentially led by these gangs, right? Whether it's the PGF, the AB, Nuestra Familia, or La M. And so if you are there, you will align yourself immediately, and you will have to. Otherwise, they will assault you. With, let's say, with the whites, and put in work. And that means, whether it's committing violence, whether it's smuggling, anything.
whatever they want you to
system.
do, right?
Yeah, exactly. The California system is like really, really, really crazy. But I'm grateful I didn't go. Obviously, I everything worked out in my situation, with the exception of financial losses and physicality is different. Like, it's aged me quite a bit. And
well, the stress will do that. The stress will beat the shit out of you.
My memory, bro, is jacked. Like, it's really bad. I don't know what's happened. Like, I have like cognitive decline, as I like to say.
That's
but
fascinating.
My memory is really jacked, and it's I have a very difficult time remembering anything. So, but I think
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's a trauma response. That's some deep level of trauma that you've, like, emotional trauma that you've suffered through this. And I'm not saying, like, anybody emotionally abused you or whatever, because I don't know. But I find that a lot of those things where suddenly something changes in the brain is tied to some kind of trauma response, which I don't know. You'd have to talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist to really know. But that's fascinating, honestly.
Interesting.
How old are you, Andy, at this point?
44.
44 years old, and you've had the quote unquote the state beat the shit out of you. How can we, like,
we don't take it? I don't take it, lying down, brother.
Right?
Yeah, we get it. We get. I like a good old dust up.
Well, what I want to try and understand is, I know people at home are probably feeling a similar level of outrage that I'm feeling, and is there something that people can do to try and, like, help you through this kind of stuff, and these other stores? Because it's not just Engage, correct?
Right. I would say we're the lead one because we had the most interactions with this gentleman.
Okay.
And their complaint, I would say, is rather directed at us. But yes, it's me, Engage Armament, United Gun Shop, and Atlantic. So there's only 3 gun stores in Montgomery County.
Atlantic Firearms or
Atlantic Guns. Atlantic Firearms is also in Maryland. Good call, but they're way over on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah, that's why I was confused. I was like, that's not anywhere near.
There's Atlantic Guns and Atlantic Firearms. But I would say for us, I did not do a give, send, go. I did not do anything like that. What I'd really like is for people, shoot, if you want to, man, shoot me an email and I will send anybody a copy of our motion dismiss. Like, I want people to read this and say how outrageous this is. Like, if you know somebody, send it to them. You know what I mean?
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call a few folks tomorrow, and maybe by the time people are hearing this or seeing this video, this stuff will have already come out. But I'm gonna try and connect you with guys that can put a bigger spotlight than I can on this, because I find the sort of the narrowing down, the sort of specificity of these 3 shops being somehow responsible for the actions of a criminal, alleged criminal, I will say. I find that absurd.
Yeah.
I find that absurd. And what I'm tired of is the fact that the government has continually picked people out. They've singled people out to abuse. And I can't abide by it. I can't.
It's not right. You can't use the power of the law. You cannot use the power of the government to come out. Seriously.
You can't prosecute your enemies in that way.
That's correct. That's correct. I don't know, man. I've seriously done nothing wrong, man. It's pretty obvious that I don't cooperate with criminals. You know what I mean? In the sense of, like, right. I put myself in harm's way here to make sure bad guys didn't get guns, and they're alleging that I conspired with this guy.
Especially after what happened in the previous case.
Yes.
Where you went out and the timeline is just bonkers. You tried to defend your store sort of as if it were your own home because it's a second home to you. And then, here they are fast forwarding and saying, no, you're conspiring with these people.
Yeah. I have no respect for people who engage in the behavior. Everybody makes mistakes, but you know what I mean? You're a prohibited person. Okay. You're a prohibited person, but you're getting guns and selling guns, all this is a major problem for me. And using those against innocent people. Right. And I do not cooperate with those people. I will lay down, I will fight. And, like I said, I have no problem if somebody tries to run, one of those guys tries to run me over in my own parking lot. I have no problem shooting.
Right.
So
as proven.
Yeah. So I it's outrageous that they have somehow alleged that I was in cahoots with this guy or so grossly negligent that I would have allowed that to happen.
So why do you think people have sort of given up on Maryland in terms of gun rights? Because when you talk to people as a nation, when you look at it on a larger scale, people have given up on Jersey, they've given up on New York, they've given up on Massachusetts, California, and now Maryland. Why do you think people have given up?
It's like trying to stop the tide. Right? You can't. This state is so overwhelmingly Democrat. And sure. I'm not saying all Democrats are anti-gun. I'm not. I get it. I'm just giving you a kind of a basic rundown here. There's just no stopping it. Whatever they want, they have a super majority in our state government. Okay. So whatever they want, even Hogan, they had an automatic veto override when Hogan was governor. It's dominated by them. We also have unbelievably gerrymandered districts. I mean, people in Western Maryland, like Appalachia, are represented by Jamie Raskin from Bethesda, which is a very wealthy urban suburban area here right outside of Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You should look at the Maryland districts. It's pretty amazing. It's totally gerrymandered. But yeah, it's not worth. I used to think it was totally worth the fight, right? And then it's cost me so much, and it seems like kind of you're alone because you're talking about. You mentioned it, right? Everybody's abandoned it. NRA's abandoned it. GOA, all these other. It's I used to really think it was worth the fight, and now it's going to be impossible to stop it. You can't talk to these people. They can't be reasoned with.
Do you feel like it's because of the sort of northern DC effect?
Oh, absolutely. Well, first off, you have Baltimore, right? And then you have the,
which is an absolute fucking shithole now.
Absolutely.
When we were kids, it was nice. Going to the Inner Harbor was awesome. You go there now, it's just fucking bums.
Yeah, it's a terrible place. I mean, Baltimore. Let me back up. Baltimore is a city with with true grit. Like I do have some respect for Baltimore here. But when we had our assault weapons ban and they banned magazines, so you can only buy, sell, transfer 10 rounders on. It didn't make Baltimore a paradise, right? Baltimore actually became more and more violent. So it's Baltimore, Montgomery County, and Prince George's County, and these are DC suburbs. So essentially, it is the Washington DC effect, and it's spreading throughout the state. But there's no stopping it, John. It's just again, like what do you expect? You expect like New York City to suddenly become like a big old bastion of the Second Amendment. It's not going to happen. The people there don't want it. And so we can win court cases, we can win this, we can do that. Then they just turn around and mess with the laws again. They just okay. Well, they said we couldn't do this, but let's find this way around this. It's
almost gerrymandering the law.
Yes.
Which is fascinating. They're seemingly trying any methodology to oppress or suppress the Second Amendment. I struggle with it because when you say groups like the GOA and all these other groups aren't necessarily massively supportive, it's very frustrating. Very frustrating.
GOA did, their head legal counsel is a nice dude. He actually has some of our lowers, interesting enough. Or old billets.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but he's like, we're just inundated. We're inundated.
That I don't doubt.
Yeah.
That I mean,
So they were
being
unable.
overwhelmed, I don't doubt. And
Yeah.
GOA is a small
Yeah.
outfit. They are small. I think about the other ones, and maybe, bringing this to light and talking about it here will help, and putting you in touch with some of my cohorts could help, because this kind of stuff cannot stand. We just can't allow people to prosecute and bankrupt law-abiding people. We can't allow this shit. We can't. Like there's this talk, and I know you've heard this for years. The rule of law falling apart is the end of the country. This sort of trust in the law. Once that's gone, we're fucked as a nation, and it sounds like that's kind of what's happening to you specifically.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's very disheartening, brother. And again, there's no way there's no way this would ever be successful. But the entire thing, the process is the punishment. It was the same thing with my criminal case. Process is a punishment. They're gonna in this particular thing, their goal is to bankrupt you. Once you get to a certain stage, the legal expenses will become unbearable for a small business like myself.
Of course,
we're not some huge conglomerate. I look at Mexico v. Smith & Wesson. That's another good. Smith & Wesson's obviously a major. I think they're publicly traded.
Yes, yes, they are. Yes,
yeah, company, and it's kind of Smith & Wesson sells to a distributor. That distributor sells to a dealer. That dealer then sells to an individual. That individual then sells to another individual who crosses the Mexican border and then sells the gun to a cartel. And then there's all this violence in Mexico, and somehow that's Smith & Wesson's fault.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Oh, the whole world's gone. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
That the application of PLACA will be very, very, very interesting in that case, because it's international, and I don't know where that case is going to be heard, if it's going to ever be heard.
Supreme Court picked it up.
They did. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that they actually got it to the Supreme Court. What's your take on it? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, bro, I would certainly hope the Supreme Court is going to say the proximity here is so far out that Smith & Wesson bears no responsibility whatsoever. It's just common sense. I mean, I don't understand. The Mexican military is totally compromised. The Mexican police force is totally compromised. The Mexican government's totally compromised. But somehow this is Smith & Wesson's fault. The cartels have made enormous inroads right into Mexico City, which used to be a very safe, cartel-free area. And again, that is due to their incompetence. That is due to their abrazos no balazos, hugs not bullets. Towards that was their policy towards the cartels. That's why we have those shirts. I don't know if you've seen them that say balazos no abrazos, the exact opposite, right? But they've allowed their country, unfortunately, which has so much potential. Mexico has a young population. They built some more railroad tracks in there. Man, you could have a manufacturing center for North America, South America. Yeah, close proximity to the Panama Canal.
I mean, we've seen the automotive industry start to shift into Mexico.
Yes. But you've got again, it just goes to show it's so poorly run. It's so poorly run, and everything is compromised. Okay, and again, how is this Smith & Wesson's fault? Everybody wants to blame somebody else. Nobody ever wants to make hard decisions. It's like we mentioned Baltimore. We talked about Baltimore. What is the real problem in Baltimore? Well, we could sit here and talk about it, but the solutions to those problems, whatever we identify, are going to be very, very difficult to address. So instead, they blame the guns, right? Mexico. The solutions to the problems that Mexico faces are very, very serious, are very difficult to implement. And so they just want to say it's the guns. It's the guns. It's somebody else. It's not this. It's this. It's this.
It's definitely the Americans.
Yes. Well, nobody wants to make the difficult choices and even discuss difficult matters. For instance, something as close to home as violence in Philadelphia or violence in Baltimore. These problems have theoretical solutions, but they're going to be very difficult to implement. Some people are going to have some hard introspection. It's always easier to blame somebody else.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
So
I think we will see. hopefully in the next 4 years, some really, really interesting stuff. Are you looking forward to another Trump presidency?
I mean, generally, yeah. I mean, back in 2016, I was a big Trump guy, and unfortunately, the administration didn't work out the way we'd hoped, or I'd hoped.
I think a lot of us gun owners were like, wait, what happened?
Yeah. Do you remember, like, early on, when he was before the inauguration, there was that executive order floating around that was like, no state will make a law against the M1 Garand, the M1A, the AR-15. These are America's service rifles. Like a bunch of stuff, right? And I mean,
remember.
Yeah, man. It didn't really work out that way. So I am hopeful that something will happen. But again, sometimes you need a radical change. Like you really, if you're sick, and I'm a firm believer that this nation is actually sick. And you kind of brought it up when you talk about when people no longer respect the law, right? You gotta have some radical treatment. Something's got to give here. Something major changes have to take place in order to right this vessel. Otherwise, this vessel is going to sink or break apart.
I mean, I think some would argue that it's already on the bottom of the ocean and we just haven't realized it.
Yeah. We haven't fully drowned yet.
Yeah. It's not actual water, so we don't know.
Yeah. No, you're very right. I hope the best for my country. I have no place else to go. Right? Where else do we have to go?
I mean, you could go to Mexico.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. They actually enforce the robbery deportment. That'd be ironic. But man, we can right the ship. Our ancestors put in a lot of work, suffered a lot to make sure we inherited this, and so we owe it to them to keep it going, and for our descendants as well. I don't know, bro.
Andy, this is far more information and a deeper discussion than I ever anticipated. I knew we were going to talk about some stuff. I'm glad that we did this. I think this has been very, very eye-opening about what's going on and the persecution that you're facing. Is there some public info that people like? First of all, is your website is still engagearmament.com, correct?
Yeah, but it doesn't give you a ton of
I say that because I want people to support your business.
Yeah, sure. And then you can always email me. You can info@engagearmament or Andy@engagearmament.com, and I will straight up send you our motion to dismiss. I think I actually publicly put out some of the footage, and I'll send it to you if you want.
Sure.
From the shooting, and that's on YouTube. I forgot what it's under. I literally just I used to have it as private and only send it to very select. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's out there too. I forgot what you would search, but I'm sure Engage Armament.
That's okay. We'll figure it out, and I'll try to make sure that gets linked in the description of this. And I'm going to try and shine some more light on this case because holy shit, dude, this is not acceptable.
Oh, it's outrageous. Can I also say now that I've been sitting here looking at your beard, your glorious beard this entire time, now I'm quasi regretting. I was like, man, I should have. It's a nice looking beard, man. Dude,
you have you're bordering on like a early Hogan mustache. Like that's where you're at. Like, you know what? No. You are the modern day Jake the Snake.
Okay, man, dude. Bro, yeah. That is a blast from the past. Holy shit. Jake the Snake, wow. Bro. Look at you. All right, man. All right. Wow. You're right. I think you're right.
Oh man. When we met, I don't even know if I think I had like a very, very short, very like chin strappy beard.
Yeah. The chin strap.
Most of the people that listen and watch TGC now, like, don't know. Like, they'll see old videos and stuff. They're like, who's that guy? They don't know. Like,
I still have some of your stickers here on some of my job boxes and stuff. Literally, and you had the chin in the sticker.
Yeah. That was the old channel. That was before TGC. That was before any of this. Yeah, fucking OG stuff, man.
You've done really well, bro. I'm really proud of you, man. You've done
really
well.
Sometimes you fall backwards into stuff, and if you're loud enough, it sometimes works out. And I think that's what's happened here. I think that's
hopefully you're doing what you love. You know, you're interested in this media stuff. You've always been, as long as I've known you. And it seems to me you're doing really well, putting out good content. Plus, your quality. What would you say? I don't know what the quality of the videos.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's always been, well, I shouldn't say always, but that has become a pillar of what I attempt to do, at least here in this studio. We try to keep it, nice looking.
Yeah.
Are you still selling? And I know we're still recording, but are you still selling lowers and complete guns and all that, or is it?
Yes, we have our own line of rifles. They're billet upper, lower, and our rail system.
It was the E4 back
Yeah,
then,
still,
right?
yeah, that's our designation, the E4. We do have some new lowers, forged lowers coming out. They're just regular forged lowers, but they have. See, I call this place the Alamo, or recently I've been calling it the Alamo because we're just totally in hostile territory and whatnot. So we do have some Alamo prefix lowers coming out.
I got to get one.
Kind of fun. Yeah, man, I'll send you one.
Yeah.
And but yeah, we have some real nice upper lower rails, and we build some very nice rifles that are designed essentially for the Maryland market. You remember?
Yeah. Oh, I do.
The H bar. So
yeah, guys, if you're in Maryland, of course, that's your spot to go. But outside of Maryland, I think it's also very much worth going to engagearmament.com and supporting Andy and the crew over there, because they need it. This stuff is not cheap, and if we can financially support them, that would be fucking rad. Andy, thank you so much for being here tonight. Is there any one last thing you want to say to our audience?
No, thank you for your support. Hit me up, man, if you just want the motion to dismiss to this current thing, and I'll hit me up if you want me to send you some of the footage from the what have you.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you again, brother. Of course, guys out there listening, watching, support Camerado and XS Sights. That would be awesome. They would really appreciate it. I would really appreciate it. And as always, thank you all for listening, watching, etc. We'll see you soon.